Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jared, and today we are going to be conducting a full review / taking a closer look at the Spyderco Kapara. So the Spyderco Kapara hails from the Taichung, Taiwan plant, and it weighs a total of 3.3 ounces. The total length is 8.27 inches, the handle length is 4.69 inches, and we are featuring 3.58 inches of S30V blade steel. The cutting edge is 3.42 inches, and we have a full flat grind blade with 118 thousandths blade stock thickness. So we're going to do some quick size comparisons. We've got the Kapara, the PM2, the Power 3, and the Benchmade 940. So at the time of shooting this video, the Spyderco Kapara brand new costs around $230, which is a bit on the higher end, but as you can see, you're getting a lot of knife here. So that leads us to our next point, the fit and finish. The fit and finish on this knife, in my opinion, is very, very good. So with the scales especially, I love that carbon fiber. This is not carbon fiber laminate scales like, the other ones are carbon fiber, basically laminated G10. A lot of the scales can be like that. These are full carbon fiber. They're contoured and they just look great. They look really nice. I also like what they're doing here with the pivot screw. Kind of cool. A little extra, a little flashy. And the red backspacer there is actually it's supposed to be reminiscent of the Kapara Spider. Apparently it's an Australian Spider with a signature red strip or mark on its back. The knife creator Alistair Phillips named this after that spider. So cool little fact there. So let's talk about some of the subjective stuff then. So the ergos. For me personally, I absolutely love the ergonomics of this knife. I don't have any hot spots. I can choke up a little bit. I can take it back there. It works really well. I can, I can open it, we can reverse flick it very easily. And it's just all around a very operator-friendly design, in my opinion. Now, I think it should be noteworthy to mention that I don't believe this would be a good knife for anybody using work gloves. And I simply say that because the area where the compression lock sits is kind of thin. And with the G10 being, or not the G10, with the carbon fiber being as nicely finished as it is, I could definitely see the knife slipping out of your hands. I mean, it's slipped out of my fingers before. I mean, you basically have to pinch it like this, and you don't get a whole lot of grip onto the knife, and the cutout isn't very large either. So I could see this being next to impossible to operate in gloves, or not necessarily next to impossible, but just like not very convenient. And a lot of people compare this knife to the PM2. And that kind of brings me to my next point. How does it fare against the PM2? Well, for one, the blade stock thickness on this is 118 thousandths versus the blade stock thickness on the PM2, which is 145 thousandths. Thickness behind the edge, I have not measured these, but I would imagine that it's going to be thinner on the Kapara. And I believe we probably get more cutting edge on the Kapara than we do with the PM2. I imagine though it would be close. Anybody knows that, chime it down in on the comments there. That'd be nice. Now, this was basically my EDC carry, the PM2. I mean, there really isn't a whole lot that this knife can't do, in my opinion. It's still one of my favorite knives and always will be, the Spyderco PM2. I mean, it's a classic, right? But when I decided to start carrying this, I was very, very surprised at how little I missed the PM2. In fact, I never really found myself coming up to a task where I said, oh man, I wish I had my PM2 instead. This knife performed as well or better in every single way imaginable for me and for how I use my knives in an everyday carry situation. The only thing, if I just had to be nitpicky, the only thing that I feel like the PM2 brings to the table that the Kapara lacks is going to be just the robust toughness. Like, again, we have a thinner blade stock here. We have a thinner handle profile, and just overall a more delicate knife. I mean, you can see that just in the construction. You can see it in the stop pin, the blade stock thickness, just the standoffs. Everything about this knife is a bit more delicate, a bit more fragile than this, and that's okay because that's how this was designed. But, you know, for me personally, it's nice to have a knife that is able to do all the things sometimes. And this PM2 is that's where it really shines, in my opinion. There really isn't a whole lot that this knife doesn't do. But as far as the Kapara is concerned, I think overall for me and for how I like to use my knives, which is a non-construction, non-heavy use, like you know, I'm not you know, batoning, you know, doing any crazy nature outdoors things with my knives. And if you are, that's cool, that's okay too, but that's just not how I use my knives. For me, this is perfect. I really, really love this knife. It carries very, very well. It carries better than the PM2 in my opinion. And my overall opinion on this, I think that it's great. I really do. It's I love the shape. I love the way that it feels. The fit and finish, as you can see, it's just perfect. I mean, the grind lines, where the point comes, or where the apex forms at the tip, down to the centering. It's just very, very good. And this particular model is the CQI variant, meaning that they just put a small housing around, like a bushing around the or around the pivot, just to give it a little bit more whoosh, some of that drop shuttiness that we all like very, very much. But overall, this is a phenomenal knife. I think that it's an excellent choice alternative to the PM2. And if you find yourself getting sick of the Para 3s and the PM2s, I urge you to give this a try. Now, the only thing, like I said, that is going against it is, I'm going to say, the price and the lack of robustness could be a problem for some users, and the lack of operating space on the lock. So like I said, this may not be for everybody. It works really well for me in the way that I like to operate my knives. If it were any more than $230, I don't think it would have as much value. But seeing how we're getting a knife from Taichung, Taiwan, where the fit and finish is just perfect, and we're getting those full carbon fiber scales, and just the fact that I consider it to be a full-size knife overall, to me, it's worth it. So that is my review and thoughts on the Spyderco Kapara. Thank you for watching the video, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.